Fallout from all of this. We have Maura Gillespie, BlueStack Strategies founder, joining me now to talk about this. There's always politics afoot. We're inching closer to the midterms, still a bit of a way away, but now there's this major announcement. People are probably feeling some relief here that apparently smartphones, computers to be exempted from those reciprocal tariffs with China. What do you make of this latest move?
It'll certainly be a relief to a lot of those manufacturing companies that were probably wondering, how are we going to make phones here? We haven't done that in a very long time or had the equipment and the needs to do so here. So I think that's also a relief for not only the manufacturing companies and production companies, but also the retailers, those who are selling them. So that's a relief, but it just adds to what I would say is a chaotic rollout of this plan. The issue at hand was sound, and the reasons for doing it is sound. We want to bring manufacturing home. We want Americans to buy more American-made products, and we want fair trading practices around the globe. But to do so in a way that is consistent and as a structured plan would have been more helpful, I think, than potentially damaging some of our relationships with allies.
And I guess then the next question is the political fallout of this. You know, the tariffs are on, the tariffs are increasing. Now there are various carve-outs that seem to pop up and create a difference in both the news cycle and also potentially what this could mean for someone running for a seat out there. Your thoughts on what this means politically for the Republican team broadly?
Sure. And, we do have some time. So members of Congress are going to hear from their constituents. They're going to hear over these next, weeks and months, and to see what the ramifications are of these increased tariffs and this, growing trade war with China. I think it's a positive thing to push back against China. And I think that most Americans and most Republicans are going to be echoing that message. And most Republican voters who have supported the president are going to be patient. They're going to want to see this play out because like I mentioned, those goals, those are things that people all can get on board with. But it's these short-term pains and how long they can hold on for to see those long-term gains that would be the real question. And that could really impact the Republican majority because, in the House coming up, they have a very slim majority as it is. And that's the question about whether or not they can hold on to the gavel, whether Speaker Johnson can hold on to the gavel. That's going to be the biggest question. And I think it will relate largely to the economy at that point in time.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see President Trump and what he does and the political bandwidth with what he has. But very early on, about 2.5 weeks into his presidency, there was a CBS YouGov poll that talked about really the lack of patience that a lot of voters have with prices coming down. And now we're seeing these numbers on inflation. It's kind of mixed. They say inflation is cooling, but at the same time, what is it? It rose 2.4 in March, the CPI report shows. So how much of an impact will inflation have?
It's going to. Again, most of the 2024 election, we talked about grocery prices, how astronomical it was to go and buy, the cost of eggs. But now with these tariffs and these issues that are coming into play, we don't grow bananas here. So we're going to have to figure out a cost increase with that. The grocery store prices was such a big part of the 2024 campaign, and the president promised to bring them down, and we're not seeing that right now. And so again, how long can people hold on for in hoping for prices to come down is to be seen. We also have a gubernatorial in New Jersey and Virginia election coming up in the fall. And so maybe that'll be another indicator of where people are. But I do think that part of the problem has been some of the chaos within the White House. You've got, I'll call them little chaos agents, Peter Navarro and Stephen Miller, too many cooks in the kitchen. If there had just been a plan and a strategic effort to say, here's what we need to do to make sure that America is a sovereign in our economy and, set up parameters consistently based on each individual case with each different country, then maybe we would have had a less chaotic rollout and the ebbs and flows that we're seeing, because the market has to account for this, right? The stock market, but also businesses, they have to plan for what's to come. And so the inconsistencies have made them most likely have to raise prices to plan for, what happens at the end of the 90 days. And they've had this a couple of times now where the president has postponed tariffs or postponed increases like this. And so they have to plan for that. And unfortunately, that cost goes on to the American consumer. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if there's a tighter wrangling of the messengers, if you will, as we get closer to the special elections, perhaps, and the midterms somewhere down the road. Maura Gillespie, thank you so much. We greatly appreciate your time on this Saturday morning. Thank you.